Andy Good with the Good Life YouTube channel. Today we're going to go over how to harness the power of bamboo for essential survival skills at the 2025 Georgia Bushcraft Spring Campout.
As it's going to be at the base, and it starts up a small cone from very short. And when they get about a foot tall, it's all covered in sheaths like corn silks. You cut that low to the ground, you can eat the inside of that. All the sections that are going to be this wide later, they're stacked on top of each other about a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch apart. It's all compacted down into one. That's when it's in the edible stage. Very easy to split. When you're building something, it's just where you cut it next to a node, how far away, how you split it, how you heat it, how thin you have to put it down to how close it, how tight it bends. This can be a fire hook, and it is kind of strong. You're not going to drop your food off of it. If you had a frame over your fire, you can have 2 of these at different lengths to hang your pots on. And it makes a crazy back scratcher. It really does. Another thing is for fire maintenance. This is your fire tongs. I call it the total cold control system. You control all the fire, all the burn ends. If you want individual size coals to bring out of the fire and to put underneath something to cook, as in a keyhole fire, this is to maintain the fire and bringing out coals to cook on, regulate the heat underneath your food. Also, they can be made smaller. You can eat with them, you can pick up food with them. Salad tongs, the whole 9 yards can be made with this. Putting coals under is the bamboo cooker. It starts out that I cut the ends first. This end here is cut with a saw, all prepared with a saw. This end is all prepared with a machete and or knife. And when your knife is at an angle, you want to have it out. If you have it in, that's how your split is going to be coming down. And this one here, it got off, so my split is at an angle. You want an angle so your lid sits on top of it. But the lid still sits on top of it real good. Never put points on the top. Bamboo is real strong. If you happen to slip and fall on it, you could be killed. Tap it down till you get the right level. Fill it full of water, and you can put your coals underneath. When I say they're kind of handy, they're picking up trash around the campground. Takes some getting used to, but I can pick up cigarette butts. And the outside of the bamboo has a wax on it. Once it's heated, it's almost like hot glue. And you'll notice go back to heating water again. Both of these are water heaters. This is a bamboo steamer cooker. This is just to boil water. Yes, sometimes it splits out when you're hammering it in. Now, your fire would go here, and it would heat the water. You see the steam come out here. You can make a cap to go over the top, loose fitting cap, to kind of keep the heat in, keep the steam in. Both of these here are one-time use. This one you can get a couple out of, but sometimes a couple out of. Definitely this one is definitely a one-time use. And all you're doing is baking the bottom. You want it for about 30 minutes, you'll blacken the bottom of this. I have burnt halfway through and a lot of charring on the bottom, and it still held the water. Yes, sir. Sure. I've cut bamboo before and heard water in it and would cut it and drink it straight out of the bamboo. If there's water inside the bamboo, it's drinkable. You can heat water in it. You can use it for cups, bowls. Find a big enough one, you can use it for a plate. Everything, heated or not. This is a rice steamer. Crawfish, shrimp, anything you want to steam goes in the upper section here. The section here, the membrane, if it's got a flat edge on it about big as a chopstick, you break out a small hole, sometimes big as the end of your finger, big as a dime in the bottom. Sometimes it breaks out to where it's 4 or 5 little holes, which is perfect, so it's like a colander. Sometimes it breaks out into a little bit bigger hole, but your water goes down here in the bottom. You do want to have a big reservoir of water. You pour your water in until you see it at the holes right here at the bottom. Then you can put your food in, your rice, your shrimp or whatever. Loose fitting cap on the top to keep the steam in. And then you got your rice cooker. Another way I make this, I go ahead and cut the ends first. It puts a lot of tension, and if you already have a cut here, it has a tendency to split out and mess up. I also like to do the lid before I do the ends, but here I did the ends first. So we're gonna see what we come up with. There again, you got to do your angle on it. It can be made with 2 sections, but sometimes when you pop the lid out, it takes out that middle section. You can cook 2 different kind of foods in it. You boil water for rice on one side and have green beans on the other, and have 2 meals because the piece is long enough and it has a section between it. But sometimes when you break the lid out, it takes out part of that section. It breaks out. Comes out that easy. Just by chopping 2 of them and baton it out. You can boil water in this. It gets the little bubbles on the bottom and gets real hot. I have boiled water, but it nearby burnt through by the time it boiled. After you boil your water and purify it, you're going to want a cup. If you want it for longevity, skin the outside off. The outside, the waxy part we talked about on the fire tongs that melted, that's kind of like its bark. It keeps the moisture in. This ain't a tree, it's got to have something to keep the moisture in. You take that outside off and it dries quicker, and it don't mold. This is what it looked like before. And to have a structurally sound bamboo, it's got to have the white mildew looking on it. That means it's old. If you get one that's younger, a lot greener, a lot prettier, that's a beautiful, beautiful piece of bamboo. You don't want it. When you cut it and you go to dry it, it doesn't have any structure. It doesn't have any wood to it. I think it like a dried up weed stalk. It just snaps. It don't dry and be real strong. You got your water, purified water. I don't like putting it on the ground at all. I don't like putting my cup on the ground. If I'm off the ground, it's a lot better. Even if it's a little bit. Same size bamboo, come from the same piece. Because your bamboo is a certain diameter, you don't have to use a small cup to fit inside that. The node here is broke out like a pie is cut. It's got wedges at this section right here, which creates a shelf for it to sit on. You got your drinking water. You got your cooking food, steaming food, purified water. You got your water to drink. Now you're ready to eat. You don't eat on the ground. Now you have your cup you can eat out of. And with a seat at the right height, you eat out of your cup, drink out of your cup here. Here's another one that shows that near the bottom of the bamboo, the nodes get a lot closer, gets a lot thicker. This is some sand tent stakes that I made. Drive them in the ground, it's real good for sand, it being cut like that. And this is some older pieces. A lot of times, if the end is open, it don't have a node on each end, sometimes it will dry and split. Shaving off all the outside makes it dry faster, so it avoids that split sometimes. Lashing together shelters. Skinning off the bark for a cup. You got two stages. Barely skin it off a little bit, it's still green. Skin it off even deeper, and it gets to a lighter color. The lashing, I use a wrapping and frapping with 36 bank line. I do 3 and 3, and then 3 around here, and then lash it off with a jam knot and really cinch it down. Once you got your frame for your structure and all your frame is up, you're going to need a roof. This is a smaller section of how you split the bamboo. If you have one with a slight split, you can put it up instead of down, and you can still use that piece of bamboo. Very little water will come through that split because it's on top. Now that you're catching water, you need a gutter system. This. You need a gutter system to catch all your rain. Whether you're going to drink it, funnel it away from your shelter, or for a garden. You have a gutter system. One cut with a saw, one cut with a machete. You can take a small stick, knock the center out of the nodes for a long piece, and actually have an 8-foot, 10-foot pipe that you can run water through. This is one I made a couple of years ago. Very simple trap, one piece. You can have your round part here and a round part here, and then the two long pieces overlap. So one piece, 4 foot long, 3 foot long, you can make 2 traps. This one, it's done got memory in it, so that's as far as it's gonna go. We'll catch a snake or a rat coming out of the hole, because he don't have nowhere to go. When he goes through there, he's gonna hit that trigger. If it was a rat, he's gonna hit that trigger. And another one I'm gonna show you that's fresh, and I haven't bent it yet. The arm is a lot stronger. When he comes through, even broke, this dried and broke, it still can be used. When he comes through, hits the trigger.
Yeah, the rat doesn't care if it's broken.
And the loop catches it. This is how I would make them and store them, just like this. You want to maintain all your strength in your arm, your engine, your motor, what provides the power. You got to have that. So the trigger piece here can't be green, it has to be dry. Dry for the strength and the little shelf you put on it. It's got to have a keen edge on that shelf. This one is a little different. You can have a closed end on this end. So any peanut butter, anything you put in there, fruit or whatever for a mouse or a squirrel, he can't go to this side and get the bait. He has to come through here. You can make these around the camp where you don't have very much time on the trap line. When you're on the trap line, you're leaving your scent, you're leaving your time there. You're stomping down an area that don't look natural. Take your time at the camp to build these. Then go out and put them out. Once you see there's no game in that area, you want to change areas. If you have a ground-based, you have the limb you pull over and the trigger and the loop and you got a snare, okay, that you just tied that down to that location. You can't move it. Yeah, cut the tree, sharpen it off, put it over here, you still got your tree, but it takes a lot of time. These, if there's no animals in that area, trip it, grab up a bunch of them, move to a new area, and you're set up again. In setting this, I would set it. I made this a couple days ago, talking about how the bamboo molds. I made this probably 5-6 days ago. You can already see the spots on the bottom from where it's drying. So if you're gonna make one to use it for a drinking cup, look for those spots. The open end, it does have a tendency to pop if it's an open end on it. Once I'm on the trap line, or I can tie it before I leave camp. You can tie it. The more you bend over, the more of an angle you get in, and you make it a harder trigger. I can relax this, and you see the angle straightens up some. Now it's pulling away from it instead of being tight and having an angle inward. That makes a difference. This makes a harder trigger. With leaving them relaxed, stored like this, you keep that energy also. And also using a dry piece of bamboo, you may have to skin this down so you can bend it. A dry piece of bamboo is going to be a lot stronger. I get it how I want it, kind of straight up. 1 knot, 2 knots. I'm done. Sometimes you have to adjust your loop in the bottom. And get it how you want it. And with that being a loop, I tied a loop here. I tied an overhand loop so it doesn't tighten up around the string. You can tie a slip knot, and once that fires off, and it fires off kind of heavy, it's going to snatch that knot and tighten it up to where they can't get it out. It'll be hard for me to reset it after it fires off because that knot whips and it gets to the end, and that last little hit at the end is all tightening that knot right there. You cooked your food, you drank your water, you got extra water that you need to carry with you. You have a drinking cup. This I made for the November class, sitting at home in the house, halfway skin off, halfway not. It's split because it's got the open end on the end. This is the cap for the inside. And you think, if I got the cap on the inside, dirt is going to fall down in there, bugs are going to fall down in there. Not a good situation. I have a funnel for dirt, bugs, walking through the woods, little small sticks that you get in your shirt pocket, or you come home with a stick in your pocket. That's from the woods. Use your cap to fit over it. Now, it can rain dirt down on it, and all it's going to do is fill this cap here. It's not going to get in, and it makes an awesome little drinking cup. This is also one of the traps. It's got the closed end on the end of it. You can cut it with a saw or a machete. I think the closed end kept this one from splitting. This one is just as old as that one. This one's more used.
Yeah, maybe.
What happens when you use the green trigger? The whole shelf of the trigger falls off. But you can retie another trigger on that and that trap will still be used. Now this is the complicated trap. More complications, more power, more technical. You got a lot of things in play. Everybody has set or had dealings with a mouse trap. Why is that bar so close to the hinge at the back? That's so you can get leverage. You want your bar, your trigger bar that slams down very close to the hinge point of your holder, of your trigger holder. One that holds the bar that has the weight on it. Now you have the trigger here, coming across, all tied here. This trigger goes down, this flies out, that goes down. And with the trigger set up in that fashion, where it's real close to that hinge point, you get into the trigger trap theory. To where it's sensitive. If you're after small game, a lot of traps with a heavy trigger, it'll take a possum or an armadillo, maybe a rabbit, to trip it. You want it so a squirrel can trip it. Something real light. But that real light has to hold something back that does a secondary thing. That's the trigger trap theory. So, with your spring installed, ever so slightly tapped, and it snaps down, it does hold pressure on it. It will hold a rabbit until that comes off, and then it can be freed up. These can be made at home, at camp. You want the trigger next to the stick so you have a wide opening so the rabbit can come through. The bar is on the bottom. When the bar has to be pushed down for the trigger to set off. 188. This is the bed, table, bridge, shelf. You can bridge over things. The bamboo has a tendency to be slippery. If you're bridging over a stream, I suggest throw sand on it. Sand's a good grit that does help it. All the strength, long ways, is out of 2 sticks of bamboo. That's it for all of this strength. This is 7-foot bed. It's supported on each end. 2 people could get on this. And this is your shelf, your table, your bed, your floor, your bridge, everything. Same lashing that I passed around. I have an open view so you can view the lashing. It's split up in 2 different ways. The 2 support pieces here are mature bamboo. This was made for the November class. I made this probably November the 1st of last year. If this was in your shelter, if you made it back in November, you would have a bed for a year or 2, or maybe even longer if this was in your shelter. If you had shelves, if you had floor, it's been a while. Been November since I've done it, been 6 months. I'm over there jumping on it. Talking about it can hold 2 people. It's split up in 2 different ways. You can section it up. This is one piece of bamboo here in 4. I cut it in 4ths on this one here. Also, I took the machete and cut off the ridge. It's got a sharp ridge. Ah, there they are. I left some sharp ridges on it. You don't want those on your bed. I skin them off with the machete. And to add 2 extra pieces here, you can see where the machete slid along it and cut it all off. This one here is the second way of flattening out bamboo. The accordion method, where you take a piece at the first section here, you're to take a machete and hit it, or a knife and lay on it and baton it, and split that node right there. Just split it. You want to pop it. You want to put a line on it. Just that. Move over a 1/2 inch, do another one. Do it all the way around, every 1/2 inch, every 3/4 of an inch. Then you go between it on the next one. You line it up to where this cut is between this cut. And you go again, 1/2 inch, all the way around that bamboo. Do the same here. This one lines up in the middle between these 2 cuts here. That's why it looks different. When you get to the end and do it, and you've busted all the seams, do not, when you first start busting it, don't bust it all the way down into the, okay, this is where I'm going to open it up, right here. I'm going to go ahead and pick where I'm going to open it up. No, don't work like that. The bamboo will let you know where it wants to split at. Because when you're splitting this, some of them's going to line up. You're going to be a little off somewhere. When you get done, half of your split, or sometimes 3/4, it'll tell you where your opening is. If you cut it ahead of time and then do your accordion, you're going to have 2 openings. You're going to have 2 boards, because you're going to have one wide open split and the other one's going to be halfway. Still usable. Still usable. 2 different methods of lashing. You can tie down a piece here where you have 3 ties for the whole piece all the way across. If you're low on string, that's real good. But for sleeping, I'd rather sleep on this part. You can do a continuous lashing all the way around. You can do the continuous lashing on both parts, whether it's split or accordioned out. 2 different ways to do the accordion. Fast way.
That's so cool.
All of these, very sharp. Like I say, this will be for your walls, divider walls, for your exterior walls. You also can use the roof the gutter system for the roof, you can also use that for a wall. Then on the inside, pack mud on the inside, and you'll have a bug-free shelter. Bugs can't even get through it. And it'll be waterproof because the water hitting the side of that would just run down. And also, if you're doing it with a knife and a baton, it gets a lot more accurate on the cuts. You can see where all of it's close together. Some not even there. Yeah. But it's a very fast way to make. You can use this for a floor. And this can be way up in a tree. It does get slippery just because how slick the bamboo is.